This film is coming out following the tragic death of Sarah Everard, and some statistics have come out this week which show that nearly 100% of women aged 18 to 24 have been sexually harassed or sexually assaulted in some way.
Sexism is so pervasive and insidious that I can't think of it as isolated incidents, but rather a constant experience.
The main time sexism has affected me is when I'm out training and when I'm running. I like to run in shorts because that's what I race in. And I do get shouts from people in cars, I get stares, and you do get honked horns and wolf whistles.
Every single day when I was walking home from secondary school, there would be groups of boys who would think it was okay to yell at us from across the street.
One time which is particularly prominent to me is when I used to play rugby. I managed to play for Dorset and Wilts County, and getting to county level in rugby for me was such a massive achievement, and I was so proud of myself. And I remember going into school and all of the boys laughing about me playing rugby.
It makes you feel uncomfortable. It makes you feel like you just want to run in the opposite direction, or at the same time turn around and just yell because you've had enough.
If a boy trained in shorts, no one would think twice. And it does just make me feel objectified, and it makes me feel more self-conscious and feel that I have to cover up.
It makes me question each and every interaction. Is sexism the reason behind this person's actions? Would they be treating me differently if I was a man?
With sexism, a lot of the time you can brush it off and think, well, their opinion is irrelevant, but when it comes from something that you see as such a big achievement and of such value to yourself, that's a really difficult thing to have to cope with, and it's very hard. Like, words hurt. It's hard to move on from things and pretend that they don't hurt you.
I think it probably happened because nobody tries to stop it.
I still don't understand why people do it. People should be educated on the way that they should treat young women and all women, and to make them feel that they're not being objectified the whole time.
They don't realise the impact that they have because, you know, it's just one occasion or it's just one thing, or haha, it's a joke I'm showing off to my friends. They don't realise that it piles up.
I believe that men can be feminists. I believe feminism is just about equality, and I think the name isn't great because I think people hear feminism and I think people just automatically assume that it's about women being above men, but actually it's about oppression. It's about making everyone equal and seeing everyone as equal. Women, men, non-binary people of all genders need to be seen as equal. And I think in today's society, the fact that sexism still exists shows that we've got a long way to go.
If men can think about how they are treating women, but also how they are being received by women, that would make things so much easier for us.
Most men are lovely, and I feel they will stand up for what is right, and they will show men how to act. But I also think that these people need to be educated on how this is wrong, and how sexism in all of life can make someone feel horrendous and objectified and self-conscious.
Ultimately, what a man can do is to ask the women that are in their lives how, sexism has affected them in the past. I think that's a really good step to understanding the feelings that people have had and do constantly live through when it comes to sexism, and I think that's a vital first step.
So when I'm on social media and I see in the comment sections of these kind of posts the defence, it's not all men, I kind of feel like it's quite inadequate.
Instead of saying not all men, really it should be the job of all men to fight and use their privileged position to fight for a more equal society. Don't be afraid about asking questions about sexism. I think all too often men can be afraid of being judged as uneducated or somehow wrong if they ask questions about sexism from a not knowing position, whether, say, if an act's sexist or not.
I'd say definitely confront it. I have changed in that sense and have confronted people when I've seen absolute blatant sexism towards actually it was my wife at the time. The impact it had on my wife in this case, for me, standing up for her about something that was clearly to do with her gender, definitely had an impact on her, and she didn't feel so alone and small. And I think that's one of the impacts of sexism. It can really belittle women.
I think what we need to do in order to ensure that this kind of thing doesn't happen in the future is teach boys and young men to have a healthy relationship with their emotions, because nobody deserves to not feel safe walking the streets by themselves.
We are born with a privilege just by being a man, and it's important and imperative that we use this privilege to fight alongside women, not fight for them, but fight alongside women for equality.
Sometimes the best way to speak out against sexism is after you've spotted something, connecting with that person, being that ally, being that person that wants to listen and understand their feelings and provide them that level of support that they deserve, is just as important as going in and standing in front of them and being the hero. It's not always going to be the hero. Sometimes being that shoulder to listen and those ears to listen and is just as important.